Hey there, welcome back to the Biofield Hacker channel. As always, before we dive in, just a quick note, I'm not a medical, psychological, legal, or financial expert, nor do I claim to be. Today's video is deeply personal, and it's the fundamental foundation of why I do everything that I do. And that's to help people shed the layers of life and lived experiences, transmuting those energies by purifying them through the proverbial fire, to emerge transformed, and to the purity of your core essence of complete and holistic self-sovereignty. A mouthful, right? Something so complex and yet so elegantly simple. Before we go into the energetic philosophies today, I want to share a few quick stories. Not because I want you to focus on them, but more to inspire you to reflect on your own journey. And to know that everyone has a past. Everyone has layers to shed. And that ultimately, everyone can embrace themselves through raw honesty and radical acceptance of self. So here are the two quick stories, one personal and one professional. Growing up, I was in a fairly toxic and dense energy environment that imprinted and fragmented my self-worth for longer than I had previously liked to admit, and was continually hearing the phrases, "Why do you always try to be different? You're so sensitive. And what kind of legacy are you building by trying to be Mother Teresa instead of using your intelligence to go after making as much money as you can? Why do you have to always lead with heart?" All of that was said continually with scoffing, disdain, and condescension. This continual commentary coming out of the mouths of those closest to me and that I love dearly, I've now realized were like energetic death by paper cut, 1,000 paper cuts. Here's the thing, I felt them deeply, I believed them, and for a very long time, without knowing it, I let them create dissonance in my own definition of self. And before I process what I realized about that with you, let me share a second story. Professionally, I've led teams from a very young age, probably 18, 19. Given I worked my way through school in order to pay for it, and I grew up professionally very quickly. And as a result, many of the people that reported into me were roughly double my age. There were many meetings that I went into where I was negotiating or influencing whatever business decision or partnership needed to be made. And the other team, the ones that we were negotiating with, would default to addressing and trying to align with the team members that actually worked for me, as they mistakenly thought that they were the decision maker just because their age should dictate it. In fact, this happened all the time. Particularly memorable was when I was serving as the youngest ever assistant dean at a top business school. But the same thing happened for top global talent consulting firms as well. The reason that I share that professional story after the personal one is this. It's dichotomy. In the case of the professional ones, it made me, and frankly my incredibly talented team, giggle. And we use their fragmented perspectives and assumptions to our advantage. It actually allowed me to let my staff take the lead and develop within taking the lead too for their own skill sets, while I was able to simply observe and see our potential partners and their business modus operandi crystal clear. And it enabled, frankly, a plethora of better deals and competitive advantages for us as a result. It always ended up being a win because I didn't have an ego about it. My team was talented and we were all in alignment. So the other team's underestimation and misread of the situation was frankly on them, to their own detriment. But the consequences of their own diluted energies and fragmented assumptions were their own to carry. And that brings me back to my personal example that I shared. It took me so long, so many years, of carrying other people's baggage about what they thought, and to be candid, the allowance of their verbal paper cuts. I realized, after a very long time and a lot of processing, it actually had nothing to do with me and everything to do with them. They were imprinted energy fragments that I had allowed to get in my head and diminish me and took to heart, when it was really no different than the professional story that I shared. I took on that proverbial baggage and perceived limitations of those closest to me, instead of just staying seated and knowing that my prioritization of heart over chasing the dollar, and by the way, I'm not even close to Mother Teresa, my sensitivities and my always being different were actually my gifts, my magic. They were my abundance. And while it took me a long time to free myself from the proverbial box fully and walk through a hell of a lot of fire to pull out the root of those paper cuts, to heal the wounds of those examples and so many others. I know I always mix my analogies. The strength and the foundation of that knowledge after that work just can't be shaken, period. It's now a solid foundation devoid of voids or holes. It took a lot of strength, it took a lot of raw honesty, and it took a lot of resilience. But now it's solid and can't be shaken by anything. My heart and my want to help people leverage their own limitless selves is the foundation of why I do what I do. And it creates both abundance and legacy that I can be completely proud of. That is completely aligned with me and my core. My sensitivity and differences is a big part of my magic in doing what I do. Because without being able to tap into reading energies like a proverbial radio tower, I wouldn't be nearly as impactful in my daily work. I'd be good, but not as good as I am. And I can own that. And that helps me bring my magic to help others and how they can embrace their own magic in an incredibly meaningful way. Because I got it. I've been there. I've experienced it. I know how to process through it. I know how to transmute it. All of that wouldn't have happened if I didn't believe in myself or learn to believe in myself, my heart, my values, or my core. So I can dance on the box. Actually, I can discard the box, as I know it's not even mine, fully, joyously, and peacefully. Because I'm seated in the knowing with every single part of my being now, who I am as a self-sovereign being, and I accept it and own it. And it helps me understand your journey. And hopefully by sharing my own, it will inspire you to free yourself from your own proverbial box. So today's field tack has two parts. The first piece is just simply reflect if this video resonated with you in any way and what it means for you. And pay attention to anything that you get intuitive nudges that kind of whispers to you over the next coming days. The second part of the field tack is to join us for the next video. It's going to serve, I've just decided, as part 2 of this concept with more in-depth resources and tactics. And as always, if you want to do a deep dive into exploration, please take a look at the programs offered through the Biohacker Lab on biofieldhacker.io. Until next time, have a great day.